So popular YouTuber Tana Mongeau recently went online and did a rant about the N-word and how disgusting it is. I didn't find anything particularly objectionable about her rant. In fact, I think I'd be hard-pressed to find anyone who did. And for the record, I actually find Tana quite talented. She does hilarious videos and has done a great job on YouTube. But at around 11 minutes in this video, she starts talking about politics, and she gets into white privilege and Donald Trump. And I just need to respond to her. So Tana, first of all, I wouldn't really care that much about your rant if you didn't outright mention in your video that the majority of the people who are following you are under 20 years old. And you have around 2.5 million followers. That's insane. And you said you want to use your platform to influence those people. The problem with this is, although you go on about how people need to educate themselves on these topics, your opinion is entirely uneducated yourself. And I don't think you're doing it on purpose, Tana, but at some parts you just straight out lie. And I think it's important to debunk those lies. So let's start from the top.
I'm just trying to explain it to you as if you were me in my shoes so that you can give me the best advice. I know I keep saying that, but I know how real white privilege is, you know? And before people leave comments about white privilege not being real, if you think that, I don't want supporters that think that. If you're uneducated, I would love to educate you, but if you are educated and you're like, white privilege doesn't exist, fuck off. It does. It really, really does. When white people walk around, when they live their day-to-day life, when they go to Target, when they go to fucking Walmart, they don't ever have to, for 1 second, live in fear of their life or a situation because of their skin color.
Tana, this is just outright untrue. Apparently you missed out on one of the biggest stories this year about a young white boy who was kidnapped, tortured, scalped, and forced to drink toilet water purely because of his skin color and political affiliations. Hate and violence happens against white people. Whether it's a small minority or not is irrelevant. You cannot reasonably state that there is not a single white person on earth that fears for their life due to their skin color. Individuals have different experiences. Although the situation goes both ways here in South Africa, there have been 70,000 whites murdered since the end of apartheid in 1994. A lot of these people are just white farmers who got killed simply for their skin color. So don't try to pretend that this privilege is universally applied. Whether one fears for their life or not is based on the individual, regardless of skin color.
Their first instinct is not, let me put my hands up, because they're not afraid of police. But when African American people are in a situation with police, they don't know if those police are here to help them or to hurt them or something, It's like white privilege is just, it's such a thing.
This part really makes me mad. There are plenty of black people who are not afraid of the police and have perfectly good relationships with them. Don't take my word for it, take theirs.
An officer pulls up behind me, throws on his lights. After understanding that he was there for me, I pulled off to the side, and he came up and he said, how you doing, yada, yada, yada. So the reason I put you over is for improper use of the median. He told me what I did. Asked for my license and my registration. I gave that to him. He left for a while. Now, I will say that while he was gone, and while he was with me, I made sure my hands were on the steering wheel. I made sure to speak very politely, as I always do. I did what he told me to do. I handed him the information, and I sat there and I waited, and I turned my music down. A few minutes later, the guy comes back, hands me my stuff, and he explains, the median needs to be open for emergency vehicles, blah, 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 blah. I was in the wrong. I didn't realize it. I just did it out of habit. He gave me a warning, and I was about my way. Now, the point of this is to say that I am an African-American male. This gentleman was Caucasian. There were no problems. He did his job. I did what I was supposed to do, and that was it.
And Tana, if you want to talk about police reaction to race, cops killed nearly twice as many whites as blacks in 2015 in America, in a country where blacks commit nearly half of the crime. Feel free to check the Bureau of Justice statistics on that one. The base problem people have with the white privilege assertion is that it has no nuance, Tana. It doesn't recognize individuals. There are whites that are killed by police, and there are blacks that have never been afraid of police in their life because they are law-abiding citizens. You gotta learn to treat people as individuals and look at their situations separately. And then this just gets even crazier. You jump onto the topic of Donald Trump.
especially with Donald Trump as our president. And I want you to know how much I mean that, because having a president that doesn't advocate for equality, having a president that advocates for inequality, having a president, the role model for the entire United States, the one person that is the face of our country, be a racist and set the example and say it's okay to be racist. Like, I'm white, I'm white privileged, I want to build a wall on our country to keep out a race of people is terrifying.
That is a lot to swallow. Now, you say Donald Trump does not believe in equality. Citation needed there. But the real kicker in this rant is when you jump to Donald Trump wants to build a wall to keep out an entire race of people. Wow. You can go ahead and make political videos. You do you. But if you're going to influence so many young people, at least tell them the truth. Do your research, or stick to makeup videos if you don't want to do the research. Because even the most left-wing political commentator on freaking CNN would not assert this nonsense. Trump wants to build a wall to keep out illegal immigrants, smugglers, arms and drugs dealers. He is not trying to keep out a race. In fact, Mexican is not even a race. He just wants people to come into the nation legally. Mexico has the exact same laws. They pull illegal immigrants off the streets as well, and they try to defend their borders. Tana, your arguments are not based in reality.
What happened that day, like, at least for me to see, but also what's happening all over the world, racist acts, hate crimes, this could only be the beginning because of the person that is telling the entire world it's okay to be like this.
Citation needed. When did Trump say hate crimes were okay, girl? When? One quote. That's all I need. Just one. Because last time I checked, the only quote I get from him when I look up Trump and hate crimes is, the president-elect said he was so saddened to hear about vitriol hurled by some of his supporters against minorities. He continued, if it helps, I will say this, and I will say right to the camera, stop it, Trump told CBS. Then another, Mr. Trump said he condemned bigotry and hatred in all its forms. That's the only thing I can get, Tana. I can't find anywhere where he wants to make the world full of hate crimes. And a lot of the stuff that he's coming out and condemning isn't even turning out to be true. I'd implore you to look into the onslaught of fake hate crimes that have come out of the woodworks this election, and also the onslaught of violence towards Trump supporters. In fact, I just spent my weekend in a city with plenty of leftists advocating violence against Trump supporters, smashing windows, punching people, and throwing eggs at myself and friends. So really, Tana, just give me a break on this one.
And when I say this, I'm saying this to all of you as well. You guys are all young people for the majority. I know that I have some older viewers, but like 80% of my viewers are like under 20. All the people that come to my show, it's rare that there's ever anyone over 20 other than like the parents. You young people, including me, are the voice of the future. Us young people. People may belittle us and people may tell us because we're young we don't mean anything, and people may tell us because we're young our voices don't matter, and the president's voice matter, and the old people and the racist people and the people who are set in their ways, those voices matter, but that's not the truth.
Okay, Tana, no one thinks your voice doesn't matter because of your age. I think your voice doesn't matter because you are spouting nonsense with no facts to back it up, and you are truly hurting young minds. I'm not that much older than you, Tana, and when I bring arguments backed up by facts to the table, people listen. I don't think you're intentionally trying to be harmful. I think you've probably consumed a little too much BuzzFeed and Salon and truly believe what you are saying. But that doesn't change the fact that you are spreading lies. And I really hope that I can combat that, because the future is not looking bright in a world where young people form their political ideologies around the feelings of e-celebrities and not the facts that they state. If you enjoyed that video, then be sure to like and subscribe.